Who pulls the train? What kind of person pulls the train? Eunuchs! So, this is him baptising a eunuch. Here's what happens. When the eunuch lifts his head up...
I didn't know what you were going to say.
So what happens is the eunuch lifts his head up, he's been baptised, and Philip has disappeared. So the eunuch never saw him again, but went away on his way rejoicing. Meanwhile, Philip found himself further north at the town of Azotus. So it seems to provide the Bible's only example of teleportation. Because there's a moment he's there, and the next minute he's in a completely different town. So here's the question. Philip aside, do you think that humans will ever teleport? Yes, okay, what about it?
If you think about it, 10 years ago we didn't have Uber, and now we've got Uber.
And that's as good as teleporting.
Yeah, that's
There's been times when I don't remember how I got home, and then I've looked at my emails and I realised I got an Uber receipt, and I thought, that's as good as
teleporting. Well, here's the extraordinary thing is that we have already done it, although not to ourselves. We are heading into quantum physics, but fear not, it is not difficult at all. So quantum physics essentially study extremely small particles, so atoms, electrons, photons, which are light particles. So in 2017, China teleported information from a photon into outer space using a process called quantum entanglement. So now let me explain this to you. I want you to imagine this is a single energized photon. What you can do with a photon is you can fire it from a laser into a crystal, and you can effectively turn it into two not quite so charged photons. So you have to imagine now that this is two photons, but they are effectively still the same banana, the same photon. It's just that we have separated them. Now, I'm going to take this bit of it and I'm going to chuck it to you, Carrier. So I need you to imagine that you are in a spacecraft, you are 500 kilometers away from the Earth with a Chinese spacecraft. You ready? Yeah. There we go, fantastic. Okay.
Tell you what, at least you didn't make a reality.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write something on this. I have written Alan. If you then show you, imagine that it is now 500 kilometers away, the 2 says Alan on it. Whatever you did to the photon that is left on Earth, exactly the same thing will happen to the photon that has gone out into space, and we don't know why. We shouldn't feel bad that we don't know why. Einstein did not understand it at all. It freaked him out. He called it spooky action at a distance.
Oh, I get it.
So here's the weirder thing. We could pair this bit of banana, if you like, with an orange.
Wait, we're pear, orange, or banana?
If I then did something to the orange, it too would appear on that bit of banana. I'm trying to use fruit as an example, but basically I could pair another photon, a third one, to this one on Earth, but it is still having the same existence.
I feel really weird.
So basically, when you teleport, you're going to make a version of yourself elsewhere, and then you can do whatever you like to it.
In a way, you're right, Alan. The trouble is that we just don't know enough about it.
I do know, though. I know what it is.
Okay.
2 words for you.
Yes.
Fax machine.
Is how you've kept so up to date.
I did a documentary about quantum physics for Horizon.
Did you?
And highly recommend it. I learned a lot, but
Yeah.
it's
Gone.
once all the experts had left the room, oh my god, you can't really retain it or use the knowledge. They showed me a laser beam split in two in the National Physics Laboratory, and they told me that it was impossible, and then they did it.
Were you at a magic show?
Then they chopped Debbie McGee in. Hopefully it's on YouTube. You can watch it.
I will check it out. Anybody know why teleporting took place in Star Trek? What was the reason?
Oh, was it like a budgetary thing for the show?
Yes.
They didn't want to have to show the transition.
It was too expensive to show the Enterprise always landing and taking off on different planets. So Gene Roddenberry, who was the creator of Star Trek, that was his workaround. They simply couldn't afford.
Just doing a background. carry on.
I think you're making sex noises.
Wow, Holly, it really has been a while, hasn't it? Holly has
Don't do that when you're in the dark room. Oh. Coming from another car elsewhere.
So that other car is singing Naughty the Dance, maybe so.
I'm trying to explain quantum
I know, you're doing very well. When's lunchtime?
Once the Horizon documentary, move on.
If any topics come up with shows that I've done, can I plug them as well?
Yes, seriously, like an old people's home now, isn't it?
I've got thrush.
Right, moving on. Where would you go for a 6-week quickie, Josh?
Alton Towers.
So, what kind of quickies are there that you might do in 6 weeks?
Quickie in 6 weeks.
Divorce. So,
Oh,
yeah, so
6 weeks.
from the turn of the 20th century, people travelled from all over America to Nevada. It was the place to go for a quickie divorce. So they reduced the residency requirement for seeking divorce from 6 months to 6 weeks. And also, they made it fantastically easy. There were 9 grounds where you could get divorced. They applied them unbelievably broadly. There was a man who got a divorce on the grounds of extreme cruelty, and it was because his wife had too many cats. I mean, it really was.
She had too many cats.
Yes.
Did they name how many?
They didn't say how many. For me, 1.
2. There's one there. I can't see. There's another one.
And this carried on right up until the 1970s. In fact, they think it's how the state survived the Great Depression, because no other state allowed such lax grounds for divorce, and they were divorce hotels where you could go and the couple could do the 6 weeks of residency. They especially targeted women, and dude ranches were developed, where women would go for 6 weeks sunbathing, riding horses, drinking cocktails, fraternising with the famously attractive male staff. It was marketed as Renovation because it was in the town of Reno. It was one of the most popular places. And women would often arrive with a male cousin, and then they married as soon as the divorce went through. They held an annual wedding derby to see who had officiated at the most marriages in a year. And 1947 Judge William McKnight won. He had officiated at 5,888 weddings, pretty much 16 a day. Whoa. Just going through. And now for a classic snack to go with a classical question. So, here we go, got some snacks. How can you squeeze the maximum number of quavers into the smallest possible space? Yes, Josh.
Oh no!
Oh my. I like Twiglets. I met a man in Sainsbury's dressed as a Twiglet.
You were dressed as a twiglet.
Well, no, I didn't even know what job we could do. I would have definitely done it. Anyway, quaver, where did we get the word from? The actual word quaver.
French.
No, so we're going to go Middle English. What do you think it meant?
Middle English, did you say?
Middle English.
What, so quavers have been around since medieval
No,
times?
the word. I think this batch has been around since medieval times.
Means a quiver?
It does mean to shake or
shake.
The
tremble.
letter S. Look at that. Isn't that weird?
Oh.
You are so easily pleased.
That is how I imagine the scene from Alan's documentary.
So it began as a meaning of shake and tremble. Then it became singing in a sort of tremulous voice. Do you remember when women in church always sang? Yeah, it's like Josh was in the room. And then it became the name of a musical note. Anybody know how long a quaver
A quarter?
It's an eighth. There are semi-quavers, which are 1/16th, followed by a demi-semi-quaver, which would be a 32nd, a hemi-demi-semi-quaver, which is 64th, and a quasi-hemi-demi-semi-quaver, which is a...
Danish wizard.
120.
Josh, what did you say? 128?
128.
128. So these notes are quite rare.
Why is it so rare?
So it's rare because it's so fast. So if you took a work in 4/4 time, so with a tempo of 100 beats per minute, a quasi-hemi-demi-semi-quaver would last for just 0.02 seconds. So that is too short for the human ear to distinguish.
Oh, yeah.
But in fact, Beethoven and Mozart used them to describe brief, rapid sections in particular movements. The shortest note in any published work is a 1024th note, which should be called a quasi-hemi-demi-semi-hemi-demi-semi-quaver.
That's his brother.
Yeah. And it appears in Anthony Philip Heinrich's Toccata Gran Chromatica, which was written around 1820.
Somebody's pleased with themselves, isn't it? I've used a semi-demi-quaver.
Those glasses look no use to anybody, do they? They're too small.
They're smug glasses. They're intended to
Yeah.
make you feel stupid.
So this is one of the rare uses of this 1024th note, but in the very first manuscript an extra bar was added to the note, which meant it was actually miswritten as a 2048th note, which would be a demi-semi-hemi-demi-semi-hemi-demi-semi-quaver. Notice, look at that. That is, I mean, how fast would that look? Yeah, bonkers.
So could we hear? Like, what's the shortest note that we could hear?
There is a thing called Extreme Piano Channel on YouTube.
Whoa!
Where it is.
Do you know what else is on YouTube, Sharon?
You've all got some instruments beside you. Why don't you bring out your instruments? What I want you to do, you've got 5 seconds. I want you to play the same note as many times as you can and count how many times.
How I'm playing.
Did you used to do that game at school where you'd try and start a stopwatch as quickly as possible?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that game. It was so good.
Okay, are ready? 5 seconds going now. Okay. Holly, how many?
Alan, the bus is here.
Holly?
I lost count about 12.
After about 12, Alan, you know, bloody idea.
34.
34?
Honestly,
Yeah.
47.
Oh, Josh wins that one. That's very impressive.
Follow victory if you happen to give your own score when you know what the other scores are.
Most piano key presses in 1 minute is 824, which is 68 and a half every 5 seconds. It's a Portuguese-American pianist. He's astonishing, called Antonio Domingos, and you can see his work on
Did you
Extreme
do it
Piano.
in...
Does he just do all the same notes again and again, or is it like a tune?
No, it was just one note, but he played it with 2 fingers. Most claps in a minute? How many claps do you think?
Well, the flamenco people
About
can go very, very...
400? No, 300.
300, anybody else?
200.
1,080.
Wow.
By a 9-year-old.
I know.
It's called 7 Wade. 180 every 10 seconds.